I just came out here hoping to beat the rain, and as soon as I stepped outside, it's already starting to drizzle, so I was hoping to get some stuff planted before the rain, but it looks like the rain is already here. So as long as it's not raining too bad, my hope is still to get some seeds planted. So yesterday I did a little mini garden tour. I showed you guys what I had going on, and my kids were able to get the whole garden weeded for me. So today I thought that it would be a good day to plant all of the seeds. I did get some beds planted with some seeds. So I've gotten this bed planted right here with this bloody butcher corn. This corn is going to be a grinding corn, so I planted that whole bed right there. Actually, there's one seed popping up. Oh, another one. And then I planted this bed, has lima beans as well as bush contender beans. And I planted this bed right here. This one has sweet corn. It's the Bantam sweet corn. And on the opposite side are the cucumbers I had already planted. And I also planted sweet corn right here. So those are the 4 beds that I planted yesterday. And so I'm glad that it's going to start raining and get watered in, even though we did water. But I hope to get some more beds planted. There's plenty more, definitely more than about 10 beds that still need to be planted. I have my bag right here of zucchinis, watermelons, what else? Winter squash, so like pumpkins and things like that need a long growing season that I haven't planted yet. I'm pretty sure, oh, I didn't bring out my sunflowers. Those would have been easy to plant, some sunflowers at the edge of beds, but my hope is to get as many seeds as I can planted. I'm probably going to go inside and grab those sunflowers. No, Jade, no. Hi. What happened? Hi. I know. Ouch. I know. So I'm sitting out here in front of this first cattle panel trellis, and I have my container of seeds. I counted and I have 16 spots, 16 more cattle panel spots to plant vining things on. I know I have a few, maybe like, I want to say 3 watermelons that I know are small enough to trellis on these cattle panels, as well as some winter squash that I planted last year. And so my hope is again to get some, I'm getting my seeds out. My hope again is to get some of those smaller things. Like I have, this is my container of, what is this? Melons. Last year I planted this Tigger melon and it smelled divine. It smelled, hey girls, the goats. Sorry about that. My girls were supposed to be watching the goats, and then I saw them in the corner of my video, and I'm like, that means that they're close to my garden. So anyway, so like I was saying, last year I planted, where is it? The Tigger melon, and it smelled lovely, but when you ate it, it wasn't really that sweet. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna plant this again. Maybe if I have spot for it, I might plant it, but I'm not going to put like, I'm not gonna put it as like my priority. If I have like a random spot on a trellis, then I might. But for now, I'm gonna hold off. I am looking forward to this Minnesota midget melon, just because, so the vines weren't super long, so they only went about 4 feet high, and that's what it says, 3 to 4 feet high. But they were these little tiny melons, and they tasted delicious. They were super yummy. Let's see. So I will plant this one again. This one, what is it called? The Hisea melon. I think I got one of these last year, and this one was also delicious. It says it's a variety from Israel, named after the Hebrew word which means the anchor. So I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm just gonna basically, I'm definitely doing the Kajari melon. I'm gonna take out all of the melons that I know, like this Hearts of Gold melon. That's another 2 to 3 pounder. So all of the melons that are like really tiny and stays. I feel like this Tasty Bites was a smaller one as well. The cat is like rubbing her whole body on me, so this is gonna be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go through this whole seed packet and pick out all of the smaller sized melons so that I can put them on the cattle panel, and then the rest will be planted in ground. All of my melons, I had the idea to plant them on that last raised bed towards the fence, so that way all of the melons, that was where all my watermelons were going to be, so that they could all trail that way towards the fence, because there is an opening there. And then all of like my cantaloupes and other melons, so cantaloupes and what are these called? What other melon is there? It's a cantaloupe. Oh, honeydew. All my cantaloupes and honeydew are going to be towards either the first beds up here, because there's a lot of space for them to trail that way, or the first garden beds between the log raised beds and my garden beds, so that they can trail out that way. So those will be for things that melons and cantaloupes that get too big to trellis on these cattle panels. So I got all of the packets of seeds that I'm going to plant. I have the baby bear and the baby boo. Both of these melons are no less than 3 pounds. One says 1.5 to 3, and one says 2. That one actually says 2 to 3 inches, but very tiny pumpkins. So I have those 2. I have 4 winter squash. I have a sweet dumpling, a delica, Burgess buttercup, and this black futsu. Those are all about 3 pounds. And then as far as melons, watermelons, I have the petite yellow watermelon, this golden midget watermelon, and then yellow doll watermelon, which I had the yellow doll watermelon last year and it was very good, delicious. Let's see, hold on. Ooh. Okay. And then I also have the sugar baby watermelon, which I'm gonna plant. And then the last things are Tasty Bites melon. I showed you the hearts of gold, the Kajari, and then the Hagen. So yeah, those are the melons. I already wrote out the tags because I want to remember where I put the seeds, and if they don't germinate, then I can go back and remember where I planted them. Last year I didn't put tags, or maybe I did and it washed away, and so when stuff didn't germinate, I had to kind of guess where I planted stuff. So right now, right here on this side, this right here, I guess I planted watermelon here because this looks like a watermelon to me, but since I don't know what it is, I'm just gonna go ahead and replant. So I'm gonna have a sugar baby here and a petite yellow down there. Usually I don't plant more than 1 seed at a time, but I am today just because I don't like thinning them, but I am today just because it's already late. I didn't start any of these from seeds, and last year I transplanted a lot of my melons. And since I'm not transplanting anything, and since it's mid-April, I'm just gonna go ahead and plant 2 of every seed. Well, actually, this packet only had 3 seeds in it. I'm still only gonna plant 2, but hopefully at least one of them germinate. Okay, this seed packet is from 2017. So we'll keep an eye on that to see. We'll have one more chance if it doesn't germinate. But I had seeds from 2017 before we moved. We're going to move right over to here. And before we moved and sold our house. And a lot of them I gave away to Tangi from Freedom Homestead. I sent her a bunch of seeds, but I did keep some of mine, and so I guess that's one packet that I kept. And that just goes to show you how you can keep seeds long term and they still germinate, because I've been using those seeds for a while, and other seeds like it, and they've definitely still germinated for me. And they were not kept in perfect conditions. They were kept inside of a storage unit that was not heat controlled. So in South Carolina, it gets up to 100 degrees by itself. So I know inside that storage unit, it got really, really hot. Of course, that's not ideal circumstances. So you wouldn't want that if you're actually trying to preserve your seeds. I knew mine was a risk, and I was willing to do it, and I did, and they were fine. My goal would be to have this whole garden planted today. I know that's a little stretch, but ideally, if I could just sit here for however long it would take, hours, and plant all of the seeds, that would be awesome. I would enlist the help of my girls, but they're on goat watch, and I don't want to get distracted and us all inside of the garden and then the goats come and squish their heads through. Because I did see that, I'm assuming it was a goat, that one of my dwarf tomatoes I saw yesterday had got pulled out of, it wasn't eaten, but it had got pulled out of the ground, and I'm assuming that that's the work of a goat, because they just grab anything when you're chasing them and then they snatch it. So I think I did miscount, because I planted all of my seeds, the 14, and I still have this cattle panel. It's at the top of the, or at the beginning. Nope. It's the bed right before my log raised beds. So I decided I'm going to plant these cow peas, because they needed to be trellised, these black-eyed peas. And I didn't have a spot for them right away, so this is perfect. And then I also have two other spots that I saw that I couldn't plant a trellising thing there, which I'm going to look at the other type of pole beans that I have, because if I have another pole bean that I'm interested in growing, although I already have 2 cattle panels full of pole beans, I might go ahead and plant some more pole beans on them. If not, then I'll probably just start from seeds, like some more Cottageville melons, or another melon that I'm really interested in growing. This grass right here, I'm trying to pull this up right so I can show you. So I have this grass, like I said, the kids pull the weeds, but if you don't pull it from the root the next day, it just shoots up more grass and you look like you haven't weeded at all. And then when you break it and spread, I'm hoping this year that I have really good germination and success with tomatoes, peppers, beans, because those are like the things that I want to preserve a lot of. Last year I did get, what was it, like, I want to say I did get 3 Ziploc bags full of tomatoes, but a lot of them were cherry tomatoes. And so I did get some to make sauce out of, but I did end up buying a 20-pound box of tomatoes. I did a video on that, cleaning out my freezer to make pizza sauce. I mean, not pizza sauce, pasta sauce, where this year I hope to grow lots of tomatoes so that I could make my own sauces and tomato products from all tomatoes that I grew. And then as far as like freeze drying or storing lots of bell peppers for our cooking, for fajitas and stuff like that, I want to be able to do that. And then with green beans, I do want to freeze dry a bunch of them because it tasted like chips when we freeze dried them. We sauteed them in oil and then freeze dried them, and that tasted really, really good. My girls liked that. I did as well. And then I want to keep some for fresh eating, so save them in like 1 pound increments and then have them for fresh green beans or stir fries or just stuff like you would use green beans in the can or in the bag, the frozen bag. I want to be able to set up a weekly schedule time of weeding where I come out like once a week and then like that's my day of weeding. So hopefully we'll see. But all of these packets of seeds planted, so that is a good amount. Ooh. My winter squash bed was supposed to be I think it's supposed to be one of my log raised beds. I'll have to look again. I literally just planted the last melon seed and it started raining so hard. So I ran up, I collected my seeds so that they wouldn't get wet. I ran underneath this canopy so I could talk to you guys. I could not believe it. The whole time I was planting seeds. I didn't really want to do it, but I did it. I'm tired now. The Lord knew what I needed. He's like, just finish getting those seeds planted and I will cause it to rain and then you can go inside. So that's what I did. I planted the watermelons. I feel so accomplished. I planted watermelons. I planted cantaloupes and what is it called? Cantaloupes and honeydew. I planted all zucchinis. So yeah, I got a good bit, and pumpkins. So I got a good bit planted. Let me see if I can run inside. Oh my goodness, my dress. So I definitely got a good bit planted, which is so exciting. Not to mention the seeds that I planted yesterday. So now they'll get nice and watered in, and that is just what they needed. And then probably tomorrow I'll have to come back outside and see. I'm just walking to cut off this water. Probably tomorrow I'll have to come back outside and see which beds I have left to plant seeds in. I know the cross bed, I'm planning on putting my pumpkins there, and so I'll still have to plant the pumpkins, the bigger size pumpkins. The pumpkins I planted on the trellising were smaller pumpkins, so I'll still have to plant bigger pumpkins. And then I think all of my winter squashes, like butternut squash, spaghetti squash, acorn squash, the ones that were too big for me to plant on the trellising. My girls were in the pool, so they're coming in, they're wet. I'm out of breath. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Dry off. Wow, we got the garden mostly planted. That feels like an accomplishment. I'm so happy about it. As I was planting, I was thinking about all of those melons I was planting and looking at the back. And good thing that they're all going to germinate, or not germinate, get ready at different times, because I'm tired, I'm out of breath. Good thing that they'll all be ready at different times, because that's going to be a lot of watermelons. So I'll probably end up giving a bunch of watermelon away or freeze drying a bunch, and then I think that would taste really good. Freeze drying a bunch, selling some, and we shall see. The first year I ever planted a garden, I had a bumper watermelon crop, and I didn't even plant a bunch of watermelons as I did this year. So I'm really excited. So I'm so excited about this color too. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and in the garden, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.